Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mental Health, Mysticism, and Metaphysics Discussion with Mike Ray and Dr. Gil Tivon. As always, I am your host of Metaphysical Sciences TV, Mike Ray. We have a great class ahead of us today. We will be continuing our discussion on applied mysticism and the metaphysical sciences, how we can apply these things to our lives, how we can actually take this knowledge and use it to both better our internal environment as well as the environment around us uh, uh, as a consequence of changing from within. So, without further ado, we will just jump right in because there is a lot to discuss, and I'm sure there are plenty of questions. We already have a few questions from last week, some of which we did not get to answer, and it has been a while since we've been off. So, without further ado, we will hand it over to the man of the hour. Let's give him the power. Everybody, welcome Dr. Gil Tivon. Dr. Gil Tivon,
Good evening
everybody.
to you. Good evening to you all my dear friends that are watching, as well as my dear friend Michael Ray, our host. I will just summarize for those who are joining us for the first time or that have forgotten what happened last time, which happens to most of us, and it's okay. So we'll just summarize in short what we did the last previous two chapters of this series. One, we asked what is the greatest secret on earth, and that is to become a living mystic. And we said that becoming a living mystic is not trying to be spiritual, but rather being spiritual. Make it your goal to become a normally functioning individual. Let these principles that we're going to learn tonight shape you according to who you really are and your nature, and simply apply them to become a simple, decent, honest, unafraid human being. The mysticism is a system of actually mental health. And that's why it's so relevant, especially for what we are going to be doing tonight and have based ourselves also in the past. And we've asked last time what is actually mysticism. I'm just going to summarize for all of us. We said a few very important points, which I'm going to enumerate now. One was advanced state of inner enlightenment, an advanced state of inner enlightenment. Then we said the union with reality, right? As we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. Third one, we said a state of genuinely satisfying success, and success is very subjective. For one, it can be a homestay mother who's very happy with being that. For one is a top businessman. For a third one is spirituality. For a fourth one is to be enlightened. So it's very individualized. Then we said also in going into getting an insight into an entirely new world of living in this world. In other words, the same life, but enlightened in a way that you see reality in a different way, which is incredible. Then we said number five, intuitive grasp of the truth, and above and beyond intellectual understanding and reasoning. In other words, we're not only using our left brain, but we are using our right brain. I'm going to explain and elucidate on this now and give you a nice example. And a personal experience in which we are very happy and healthy human beings. So let's start over there. I'll share with you, I had a client from overseas today who's going through his own challenges in life, which are quite a lot. He's a businessman that lives in the state, but currently visiting his home original country. And he wanted solutions and he wanted answers for things that were out of the box. In other words, looking forward into the future. Now, looking into the future means that we have to use other powers. It's not something that anyone can give you, not even Warren Buffett, because that's only statistics, it's only potential, it's only what is predictable or probable. We're not looking at that. People want real answers according to their destiny, according to their karma. What is intended? What does God have in store? Can anyone answer that? Well, there are answers. It's out of the box. It's not because we are great, because we tap into other kind of realm, other kind of dimensions in which we can answer that using all kind of very mystical methods, such as the Holy Zohar and such as divine cards of Psalms and others. And once you do that and being intuitive and channeling, and as we are doing it together, this young man asked me, well, I'm very skeptic about it, even though those answers seem to be to the point, bull's eye, but how can I trust them? And the answer is that, first of all, from experience, once you've been doing it for many years, and I've been doing it from the age of 13, 14, then you get, and I'm already today 16 and a half, so I've got quite a few years of understanding that it works. But the point is that you tap into an energy which is above yours, into the divine, where you nullify yourself, you open yourself to the quantum field, you open yourself to the consciousness of the divine, where everything is united, not separated, when everything is on the soul level and not on the separated ego level. And therefore, we can access not the limited brain, the limited part of us, but the infinite possibilities which are out there for us, from which, according to the person's ability and his character, we can tap into his potential, which already is existing, because past, present, and future are only related to where we hold now. But when we tap into the quantum conscious field, which is infinite, then we tap into the here and now. Now, these words, if for those people that are hearing them first time, sounds very revolutionary and very explosive. But I've been dealing with it for quite a while, especially also with quantum physics and Kabbalah. And once you listen to people out there that try to tap into this, such as Dr. Dr. Joe Dispenza, try to get into the quantum field in his own way with Kabbalah, and others that have tapped into it, this is the normal kind of lexicon, normal kind of jargon that we use, and this is very much scientific based. So what sounds to other people as complete magic, for us, it's in the everyday that is very much there. So we want to access tonight the miraculous message of mysticism. What is that mysticism has to offer to us that we don't know, that we are seeking for, that we are starving in our lives to access, where normal academic kind of book form answers don't speak to us anymore? Well, no conflict exists between mysticism and any other kind of established religions, any more that there's a disagreement among several lecturers who describe the same sunrise. In other words, when we look together, 100 people, 1,000 people at the sunrise, we all will agree that it's beautiful. We might not agree about the shape, the size, the color, and definitely the feeling, the sense that we get from this sunrise. That's what applies to every religion. Everyone gives its own color, its own shade. But mysticism is a container which goes over and above this and taps into the content, not the structure, but rather the content, right? So one of the giants of American psychology, Dr. William James, said as follows when it comes to this: personal religious experience has its roots and center in mystical states of consciousness. In other words, when you have a religious experience, it really is rooted in a state of your mystical consciousness. I think he says, I shall at least succeed in convincing you of the reality of the states in question and of the paramount importance of the function. So we don't disagree about its existence. We can see the Hindus and the Indians thousands of years. We can see Kabbalists for over 5,000 years, and in many other places, the Mayas and many other kind of cultures, traditions, and religions that have been doing this very successfully way before science came around to try to put everything on a logical basis. It's very important for me to tell you, as a scientist myself in my origin, my first degree was in aerospace engineering, which I am, and then I made my shift to other places in the universe, and that is that science will always answer the how, and not always correctly, only the how. But science is unable to tap and answer the why. What is the origin of things? Why is it happening this way? We can only see what our five limited senses show us, but not beyond. Science cannot see love. Science is unable to sense faith, a religion, belief, and other kind of incredible feelings and senses that people do. Science is unable to understand your intuitive mind. Science is unable to understand your mystical religious state that you go into, right? It only has very limited physical tools and instruments in which it can measure the how. So that's okay, but don't give science all the credence for everything. We give it its credentials where it fits us. It's very good, it's very important, but it's one little department of the entire human spectrum that we have. All religions have produced enlightened men and women. One such mystic in India, his name is Sri Ramakrishna, experienced by living in turn with various religions. So he said, let's try it out. He was a very open minded man. He was a Christian, then a Hindu, then a Buddhist, and he discovered the same truth in all of them. What did he discover? That mysticism is not this or that particular cup on the table. Rather, it is the water that is being poured into all the cups. Again, it is not this or that cup on the table, but rather it is the tea or the water which is poured into all of them. And if you try to remember the words of the late Bruce Lee, which said, "I'm formless, I'm shapeless, be like water. Wherever I'm poured, I obtain the shape of that cup." That's exactly his words, which he got from the ancient Eastern Chinese philosophy, which is very true and applicable over here. It makes no difference which way you go. It makes a difference what is your essence, to what do you tap, and what do you understand and love with it and bring it to your life. What we're discussing tonight is not theology, it's not academic, it's not theoretical, it's practical mysticism, which we are going to apply into everyone's lives in the here and now. So it is enough to conclude that any man or woman who sincerely, and the accent is on sincere, treads the mystical path in his or her own way will sooner or later meet that something else and understand that something else which is beyond definition, and we will meet it along the way. Not everything is explicable normally, not our health, not our challenges in relationships, not our challenges in having and bearing children or educating them, or our security, or our future, or our relationships for that matter. So, if this is all said and done, then what is a miraculous message of mysticism? What is that message that it can deliver to us? Let's have a look at it slowly. Happiness is yours in the here and now. Again, the accent is on the here and now. We try to live in the past, and the past haunts us with fear. We try to live in the future, and the future haunts us with uncertainty and anxiety and doubt. But if you live in the here and now, doesn't mean that you don't plan. Doesn't mean that you don't remember your past. It just means don't carry on burying yourself in the past, or trying to have all the doubts and uncertainty and bite your nails short because of the future. Rather, live in the here and now. Happiness is yours if you live in the here and now. It's enough 5 minutes during the day to think about what caused you pain in the past and what are your worries about the future. We all have them, not oblivious to them. Make a plan towards the future, but don't live in the future. After you made the plan, the strategy, carry on treading along your mill in the here and now. So happiness is yours in the here and now. The painful states of anxiety and loneliness are abolished permanently when you start to live in the here and now. Financial affairs are not financial problems. Financial affairs don't have to become problems. You are at ease with yourself. Which one of you, who is amongst you that is ease with yourself? Do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you like the way you look? Do you like your personality? Do you like your height? Do you like your weight? Do you like your job? Do you like your IQ? Do you enjoy yourself? Are you not afraid to be with yourself in your own company? Do you need others for that? Many questions which are very essential for any human being to ask themselves that. And better today, earlier than later in life, if at all. So you are not at the mercy on unfulfilled cravings. All of us have got cravings. Some have got a sweet tooth for chocolate, some have got a sweet tooth for drugs, for shopaholic, for workaholic, for gambling, for pornography, many things that we mention almost every time we speak at these events, at this place. And people are at the mercy of those unfulfilled cravings. Confusion, not Confucius, confusion is replaced with clarity. Once you live in the here and now and happy with yourself in the here and now because you're well defined, because you're clear about your past today, because you're fulfilled and satisfied with who you are today and your little past today. That's all. Try to live in the here and now. Then you have clarity, which replaces your confusion. There is a relieving answer to every tormenting question. If we tap, and we will learn how to tap into your intuition, answers are there all the time. We always look for answers outside, it's somewhere else. And sometimes that person is a spiritual master or mentor, and we should go to them, of course. But many times, all we need to do is to meditate and listen to our inner self and get some incredibly surprising answers which will allow us to follow suit with that. So you possess a true self, and that true self knows many, many answers and secrets because you came with it down to this world. Remember, you're a spiritual being having a physical reality experience. Something can be done about every unhappy condition. There are solutions for everything. Imagine four brothers. One is 5 years old, he's playing in the sandbox, and is completely dirty with mud, and the sand got into his ears, into his hair, and he's really crying. His 10 years old brother laughs at him and says, "Well, your problems are not real. You know, my problems are that my teacher today, when I'm in grade 4 or 5, he didn't like the essay that I wrote to him in English. And that's a real mess. You know, I don't know how to sort it out." And he bursts out crying. Then his 15-year-old old brother starts to cry or sister and says, "Well, that's not real problems. I just started, I'm a junior in high school, and that's a real jump in life, and I don't know how to handle this." The 20-year old sister says, "Well, all of your problems don't exist. I'm not dating, and I just said goodbye, broke with my boyfriend. I'm heartbroken. I don't know if anybody will want me. What am I going to do?" And she sobs her eyes out. And that's a real problem. And the 25-year old who's already married laughs at them all. And that's the fifth brother who says, "Well, I've got a child who's sick. I'm married with a child. I don't know how to sort it out. We have to run to the ER in the middle of the night. All your problems are nothing." So at every age, we have different kind of challenges. And that when we get to that age and we look backwards at ourselves, at what we seemingly thought were problems, they were illusionary problems for the time being. Now that we've grown up and we look at our inner child, we laugh at them and we say, "Well, they were real challenges when we were of that age, but they're not anymore once we start to understand." So that's very, very important kind of illumination and enlightenment that we have about our lives. The problems of the past might dissolve themselves when we have a clearer and more mature outlook and a deeper understanding about life. So sometimes, and some things can be done about every unhappy condition. While living in the world, you can be inwardly detached from its sorrows and live with personal peace and sanity. I remember reading A Man in Search of Meaning, Professor Viktor Frankl, and he was definitely a Holocaust survivor. And he every day spoke to his wife virtually. He didn't realize that she long ago already became soap in the chimneys of the Nazis. And he had 11 children. 10 children died together with him. When he came out of the Holocaust, his 11th child died in his own arms. Now, he was a very, very broken man. What held him every day was he wrote his manuscript, which he was hiding in his clothes. And that manuscript was A Man in Search of Meaning. And he all the time he imagined how he will be giving his lectures as a professor of psychology, psychoanalysis in Vienna, and reminiscing about the days that he was a captive in the Nazi uh, Holocaust camp of Auschwitz. And he managed to get out of them. And he said the person that gave up hope of life because the physical conditions were horrific. They weighed nothing. The way we made men weighed 60 pounds. 60 pounds for a man that started off as 200. So there was not much to hold on to. It was just a skeleton and bones. But what held them up was the spirit. To see some kind of reason, of mission, of understanding why we are alive. Overseas today is the day of the Holocaust. So I'm mentioning it by the way. And it wasn't the only one. There were 40 million people only 70 years ago that many people around the world just annihilated, becoming very inhuman. And that's not primitive society. This is society of doctors, of musicians, of great writers and authors and engineers of all professions. So what I'm trying to show you that we don't have to be very intellectual only, and intelligence does not mean human. Mysticism does not equal very intelligent. People can be very intelligent, doctors, engineers, musicians, writers, authors, etc. Famous names that you and I know that I want to mention, which lost the appearance of being human altogether at the sight of some kind of control over a different creed, a different race, a different religion, which is very, very saddening. And these kind of atrocities happen in our day and age. Some people are still alive from them. So this is why we go into a place of trying to understand how can we detach ourselves from our personal sorrows. There's an incredible book that was written recently by a 95 years old doctor of psychology. Her name is Edith Eger. Eger, I think it's Eder, right? Eger, no, excuse me, Eger, Edith, who herself was a Holocaust survivor. But she said it took her over 40 years to get out of her own prison camp. In other words, it's a cage we build for ourselves. We are birds that chose to be in that cage of victimizing, of sorrow, of living in the past, of being with the doubts of the future. This is so important that if you look at it realistic, if you ask a close friend who is not involved in your sorrow, is not involved in your personal grief, and they'll say to you, well, if you really ask me, my friend, my dear, you don't have to be grieving so much, you can move forward. So we do it many times to ourselves by our own perspective, which sometimes is not exactly correct, not exactly lined up with the real reality that other people are doing. So, the first clue or the first hint, the first thing we should do is try to detach ourselves from our sorrows to live with personal peace and sanity. Ignore more, take less to heart, don't take things personally, because people out there usually haunt you or criticize you, abuse you according to who they are. They don't really mean you. It's a very sad thing. Well, of course they mean me. I mean, who else is here? No. They didn't mean you because they don't know you. If they knew you, they would never hurt you. You are a wonderful, beautiful human being. They meant to abuse. You are, because you are kind and good and sweet and spiritual and not offensive. That's why they might have abused you. Very interesting. But it's not because of who you are, it's because of their own lack of understanding of how to handle a human being. So therefore detaching yourself from the circumstance, from them, is of great importance. This is a great secret on earth. Unfortunately, and this is what unknowing people call impractical mysticism. Unfortunately, it is a secret hidden from the eyes of most men, but is available now for you all. Anyone who really wants it can have it. So never forget you are following all this for your own sake. Your purpose along with mystical path is a very personal one. Sure, you're not walking on your own. There are other people like myself and others that are walking that path. We can hold hands, we can accompany you, we can help you, we can guide you. This is what this lecture is all about. But walking this path is going to free you from all that negativity of the past and doubt and anxiety of the future, and really give you the life in the here and now, being fulfilled both emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and practically and physically, which is incredible. The objective of every seeker is to become an enlightened, happy, and pleasant human being. Enlightened, happy, and pleasant human being. That will be the result. Now you can say to yourself, I can be that without being a mystic. I can just be happy selling my fish in somewhere in the market. True, but are you really happy? Or are you jealous of the competitive fisherman on your right or on your left? Are you going home happily or are you bitter? Do you really have inner happiness? So to attain this, even though the results are simple, the method is not so simple at all, and we have to understand life on a deeper level in order to come to some incredibly fantastic yet simple results. So let's move forward a little bit. How to perform right actions. That's the headline. How are we going to perform the right action? Millions of people assume it is enough to seek the truth. We are seeking the truth. We are fighting for the truth. So help us, God. But this is not so simple. It is essential to seek the right truth the right way. What do I mean by that? The right way starts with the right frame of mind, with simple receptivity. Everything depends upon the way we take the truth. For example, America is a land of freedom, Statue of Liberty, and we witnessed not long ago some vicious terrorists destroying the symbol of American finance with the twins. They really thought that from their perspective, as it's called in Arabic, jihad, which means a war with a mission of some kind of a holy war, from their perspective, they really think that. But from our perspective, we know that cannot be not holy and not war and not in the name of God. This is vicious, animalistic terror attack on innocent men, women, and children. So here you have a simple example which is repeating itself currently in Europe, in the Middle East, on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis, let alone speak about Pakistan and India, where these acts of terror are being repeated very much, and in other places, in the middle of Africa, they call it something else, what they do, right? So what is the truth? It's not enough to seek the truth. It's enough to seek the truth in the right way. And the right way is open to perspective or different people, right? What is the right way? The right way starts with the right frame of mind. So we have a rule of thumb given in the Bible. Love your fellow as you love yourself, meaning do for your fellow what you would like to be done to you, and don't do to your fellow what you don't like or dislike to be done to you. If you don't like being cut in the road while you're driving, don't do it to others. If you do like, if you are really thirsty, exhausted, and penniless, for somebody to help you when you see a homeless or somebody in need, help them out. So But this is the truth which is the right way, right? If you don't like being cut or shut down when you speak, when somebody else speaks, allow them to voice themselves. They're allowed to their own perspective, their own voice, their own opinion, even if it conflicts with yours. So, who is truthful, me or her? Me or you? And the answer is all of us are right in our own way, respecting each other, allowing us to voice our opinion, and respecting maybe that is from your perspective the voice of truth, even though I vehemently disagree with you, but I'm allowing you to voice this because for you, this is your truth as long as we don't hate each other, as long as we don't abuse each other with the truth. That is the right way. With simple receptivity, everything depends upon the way we take the truth. No other mystical point is more important than that. It is the truth the right way. The seed, I'm just going to finish this point and then I'm going to open for you two questions because I've been speaking a lot this week. The seed must fall on fertile, not rocky ground. The everyday mind misunderstands and distorts mystical principles. Non actions is a good example. Panicky people, for example, explain, but we must do something about it. It's foolish to sit around with folded hands. That's true. But sometimes it misses the point entirely. Mysticism explained that the panicky man or woman is like a passenger on a reliable ocean liner. The passenger races furiously and frantically back and forth on the deck in order to get himself to port. If he would stop this panicky action, he would do the right thing and he will calmly get to port exactly in the same second that ocean liner he will get there anyhow. So some inquirers are apt to think that mystical teachers dwell in some sort of ivory towers. We came out of the ivory towers trying to tell you about reality, and that we have no contact with realities of the harsh world. Such notions are quickly dispelled by reading about the early lives of teachers like Augustine and Count Tolstoy, who we will meet them later on in our lectures. The difference between the mystic and his critic is that the mystic has met and conquered the harsh world. The mystic has met and has conquered the harsh world, not with fights, not with the power of the muscle, but with his inner wisdom, while the skeptic is still punished by the harsh world. When a teacher is accused of knowing nothing about the everyday world, he reflects upon his own former business struggles and his understanding and interaction with other people, his own intensely hard work and self liberation. When accused, he thinks of it all, smiles, and says nothing. Because whatever I will say is not going to affect you anyhow. We're going to be more furious and argumentative. So what for? The mystical path, and I'm finishing with this for today, has everything to do with everyone's affairs. Take as a single example failure to break an unwanted habit, and we all have this. What goes wrong? The person fails because the very self who's trying to break the habit is the same self that is trapped within that negative habit. A man in this state is like a prisoner who dreams he is guarded with keys. A new sense of self is needed. When a man discovers this new self, he also breaks the habits, for man's essential self is jailed by nothing. It's only your illusion that you are jailed by this terrible habit. I thank you very much. I don't want to say much more because I want to understand from Mike at the beginning there are quite a few questions. I want to allow you to ask your questions and have time for it as we have started exactly on time. Thank you. Please go ahead. And thank you, Mike, very much for summarizing this so beautifully so that people can recap as they listen to this lecture now or later in the recording on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, etc.
Okay, so Thank you very much, Dr. Tivon, for that very enlightening lecture. And yes, as I said in the beginning of this episode, we did have quite a few questions. Some of them were answered, however, as I was taking notes and just summarizing. We did have some of these questions, some of which are up on the screen right now. So you actually asked the question which someone else asked, which is what is the truth in mysticism or according to mysticism? And you mentioned we must seek the truth the right way, and that something else that we touched on, I believe, a few weeks ago, last episode, was where is it? Okay, well, I cannot find it right now at the moment. However, the question was revolving around um, universal truth, meaning an objective truth,
Yes.
versus a personal truth or an opinion. So, I guess to boil this down, to just make it easier for people to understand how respecting everyone's personal truth as equally valid is part of the mystic path. How is one supposed to reconcile, I guess, opposing opinions if both believe that they are right and they are correct, and if the universal truth or the objective truth is a combination of all of those? So, how can we have this, I guess, duality? How does this work?
Right. So, very good. So, if I understand the question correctly, the duality is apparent subjectively at our level of executing or having it our way from our own religious perspective. So one will be Buddhist, one will be Muslim, one will be Catholic, one will be Protestant, one will be Jewish, and we will have a conflicting way about things, which only if you look at the history has caused lots of animosity, lots of wars, lots of misunderstanding amongst people. Instead of uniting us as human beings on this beautiful, as we like to call it, blue and white planet, as as Neil Armstrong straight from the moon when he first walked on the moon in 1969, we have lots of conflicts and wars and bloodshed because of it. But if we tap into the here and now and live the life of the mystic, then when I look at you, I see a beautiful human being that offers me to pour into my cup or to pour into your own cup the same content as I will pour into mine, and we can share that. So when we strip away the religious part and we stay with spirituality and we stay with so much to discuss, with so much in common, with such a common big denominator, then we can agree on so much between us and we can share ideas and we can brainstorm so much that will empower each and every one of us as we're doing now. So understand, I have not mentioned religion almost at all, and not in the Kabbalah classes, not in here, and yet we've got so much to talk about because we are standing on the common ground. So let's strip it away. Let's push away that land, which is the each person's territory of religion, come back to the content of the cup, which is the mysticism and the spirituality, and then we can have so the infinite sea in the ocean in front of us that we can agree on and sail along together. I hope it makes
Okay.
sense.
Yes, that beautifully answers the question, and then we have a follow up question. Hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, so we have a follow up question, which was, um, what are some of the first steps somebody can take to begin to become a mystic, or I guess
Very good,
to begin to
very good.
apply mysticism?
Very good question. Excellent. So we all want to reach the sky, and yet we want to keep our feet on the ground. So we want all to be there already, and to go and open our third eye and have out of body experiences and experience a previous lifetime in reincarnation, in regression. We want to know what will happen to us in the next 20, 30, 50 years, etc. We all do. We want to know what the future holds for us. We want to know all those secrets, and it is all out there for us as we go along. So I can tell you, I am not a new soul in this world, and I haven't been walking this path for 2 minutes. I've been walking this path for many, many years. And so slowly but surely answers do come by, but you have to have patience. The first step, if you want to do it right now, starting now, is first of all sit with yourself and define who are you, what's important for you, what do you really love about yourself, and how would you love to engage in this world with passion on all levels, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, or career-wise and finances, relationship-wise and love, health and lifestyle, and of course your spirituality, which is your personal growth and development. In each of those areas, define who you are. Don't listen to your parents, don't listen to your friends, don't listen to anyone. Listen to who you can always take counsel from your parents, from your significant other, from your friends, from anyone that you want. But at the end of the day, I want you to listen to yourself, because when you listen to others, they are enforcing themselves lovingly on who you are, but you are different than them. But different. I'll give you a personal example. When I was in grade 9, quite a few years back, I had a beautiful, very, very good, very intelligent biology teacher in a school overseas. And Gil was the spiritual guy in the class, and she asked everyone around, "How many colors do you see in the burning furnace?" And so everyone said 3. And she asked Gil, knowing that my answer will be different, not because I want to be different, because I see different. "How many colors are in the burning furnace?" Said 7. And everyone laughed and giggled and scoffed at Gil. Later on in life, I found here a section in the Zohar that said the 7 colors of the spectrum. And today, anyone that walks the mystical path knows there's 7 colors. But she was able to see only 3. But I was very adamant at the age of 13, 14 that what I saw was real, because I really saw it. So be truthful to yourself. You can listen, respect others, but don't nullify who you are. Many people nullify their children when they have some kind of a mystical experience, such as the dreams, or they see different things, or they're in tune and hear different things. And sometimes children are more in tune than us because they're more spiritual. They're not um, within the template of what the modern Western logical world has to offer and coerce them into. And sometimes the child can really warn you of an upcoming disaster or something that happened. Listen to them. Listen to the dreams. Don't shut it down. Don't shut your own dreams. So you can tell me, look, I'm living a very, very tough life. Most of my days at work anyhow. I'm running a marathon at the pace of a sprint. I don't have time to breathe. What do you want from me? Do you want me to change my life? The answer is no. I want you to, at the end of the day, pause, observe, and say, what am I really all about? Am I really much enjoying this kind of work? Not really. I've been here in it 8 years, 10 years. I'm not enjoying it. I'm exhausted. I'm run down. I'm grounded already. What should you like to do? Well, my passion really is art, but it doesn't make any money. Okay. Can you do it for yourself for half an hour, an hour a day, at the end of the day? Can you afford to put time on the side to meditate, to go for a course that speaks to your heart, to a spiritual course, to a retreat on the weekend, to offer some time in the weekend, which starts Friday afternoon till Monday morning? Do your art. Do something that involves you, where it opens you up. But read about the library is packed with things on the mystical path that you want to do. Try to deal with things that have got, that's first step. Second step, deal with things that belong to your past, such as grief, such as fear, such as resentment, anger. All these are reactions of yourself to past events, which we all are victims to. Try to go to a therapist, somebody that's a spiritual master, to help you negate those. Deal with them. We can't just shove them, push them under the carpet. Of course not. We can't wipe them clean. We have to handle them till you feel they don't bother me anymore. Then deal with your future. You're so worried about the future. What will be? How will be? What is your uncertainty? What are your doubts? What is the probability? So many statistics. What do the bank managers say? What do the financial advisors say? The brokers? And then you don't know where you get so confused. And then people lose $200 million in the last 2 months, if you know who I mean, quite a few of them. $200 billion in 2 months after they gain it in 4 days. The best of those that we call financial advisors and leaders. So nobody knows anything. And rather than that, make a strategy for the future. Clean yourself of the past, make a strategy. But in the that will take a few minutes of your day. Most of your day, concentrate in the here and now. Don't lose the now. There's an incredible step now in your present. You challenge in today, in your attributes, in your values, in the way you interact with people, in the way you behave, you react back to people, and the way you handle today, wherever your station in life is. God is giving you a message today, the divine. Deal with it today. Live in the here and now. When you're relaxed, when you're calm, when you're happy, you will master the stage of today. And life is built of everyday stage. Imagine that you are a butterfly. They only live for one day. You are a butterfly of today. Master today. Don't miss that step. My late father unfortunately passed away about 7, 8 months ago. He lived in South Africa, and while walking down, he's on the phone. Uh, an elderly man, he fell on a step and he broke his wrist, he broke his right knee. And being elderly, I don't think he ever recovered from that till his deathbed. So you cannot afford to miss a step. You need to be present in the here and now, because what God is sending you today is what you have to handle: your relationship, your career, your health, your spirituality, all of this today. But when you calm and you collected, not panic, not frantic, then you create the framework in which you can rise up. When you add the added value, add the prayer, make God your partner in that walk. Read something spiritual that will start to for you to walk the walk and talk the talk and walk the talk and talk the walk of what it is to be a mystic. First we said calmness, reflection, right? Not coldness. There's a difference between being cold and robotic, no, and having emotional intelligence, relaxed, care, not carefree. Do care, do listen to your heart, be engaged, listen to what your heart is telling you, not just your mind. These are the first few steps you should take. And as you see incredible great maestros in music, they always will repeat the scales of the simple things. When 50 years from now you will be a great mystic, the steps I'm giving you now, you will still be playing the basics also all the time. If you master the basics, you can really ascend to very high levels later, and we will go there together. Thank you. One more question, Mike? Anything else there?
I am just sharing just a summarization of what we just went through really fast.
No.
However, I missed that last bit that you said um, about following the steps, not skipping any steps.
So the point being that even if you are already an old soldier in God's army, if you're already an old mystic, that an old fox that knows all the ropes and doing incredible things in your very sharp pencil, what you're doing, but the basics we're learning now, the first few steps, you will always reuse. As advanced as you will get, you will have to use the basics, right? So if you're mastering judo, you will always use this very simple thing of ippon suenage. If you're mastering qigong, you will always use also the basics. So people that are very good, they practice a lot. The great late Bruce Lee said, I don't fear somebody who will show me 1,000 karate chops. I do fear somebody who mastered one and has repeated it 1,000 times. Repeat today's lessons, make them integrated within you, master them to build the next step. Don't try to build so fast, don't walk, don't grow so fast. Grow and integrate, become whole with it and enlightened and happy with where you are. Then we can open the third eye, we can balance the seven chakras, we can get out of body experiences, we can experience your past life reincarnation, we can see who's your future spouse and how much finances you'll have, and what is that you want to delve in life, and what is really your spiritual agenda that God wants from you. And this is what is your purpose in this world. These are questions that all of you are asking, and these are questions that require serious answers. But you can't get them at the first step. You have to master your first step first in order to get there. Any more questions, Mike? Or we will call it a night and we'll see each other again on Thursday in the Kabbalah.
Actually, yes. I think. Oh wait, hang on. Sorry. There is one last question.
Sure, shoot.
Okay. So, this I think we've covered on already a little bit. Um, what solutions can mysticism offer me? Uh, what does that say? What solutions can mysticism offer me when I am physically ill? So
Very,
that is a
very
good
good
question.
question. Excellent question. I will start from the end. The end is that no person has ever elevated themselves on the real spiritual path unless they really, really went through Via Dolorosa, through a suffering stage in life. Because only from a broken heart, from a broken vessel, can you get some to get in enlightenment and light and shouting out and making a real, real, real big discovery of what your life is about. The answer is, as I discussed in this form a few times in the past, I'm reminding you, there is an incredible, let's call it science, let's call it healing. It's called Kabbalistic healing, which involves really, and some of this work was started in a different way psychologically by the late Louis Hay, which I really respect very much. And it goes as follows. To every organ in our body is attached a certain kind of lesson, spiritual lesson standing behind it. Any kind of physical ailment in any organ or the entire body, it's only symptomatic. It only shows us where we pained. And pain is an incredible teacher. And at the same time, it comes to show us and gives us in a shout at and a question, why am I suffering? Because the pain is our friend, it's not an enemy. It's trying to alarm us to something which is definitely not balanced within us because of something that somebody did to us. Not that we are guilty, we're not guilty of anything. We were too vulnerable, too weak, this reincarnation, previous reincarnation. So we need that alarm to wake us up for a call and say, what can we do differently? What can we realign? What can we harmonize? How can we conduct a symphony orchestra for that pain to be alleviated? But the pain is only the incentive. The real answer will be very deep. Why are we suffering? What is the source of our pain? Why are we not happy in our relationship, in our life, in our career, in something that we do in our home that we come from? What is that inner child of us? What did we suffer that we don't recall or that we don't want to remember anymore? And we come up with those answers, alleviate them, and live a new life, not just understanding the questions. Imagine going to an orthodontist. He opens your tooth and he says, well, you really need a root treatment. Go home, my friend. Say, what do you mean go home? Treat my teeth. So it's not enough just to understand it, but to open the root canal and to treat it. And that's what we do when we go to Kabbalistic healing, etc. We try to understand the underlying depth of what a person is going through, those shadows, that real darkness. Open it up, heal it up, and when a person is healed, when we come to the closure of this, then the physical pain disappears and say, Hallelujah, you mastered it. You are the hero of your own life. And that's what God expects from you. Until you achieve that, the pain will go and accentuate itself because you are not cracking it, because you're not, or you're ignoring it, or you're not trying to tap in the right way, and it's not your fault. Sometimes things are very, very deep, but the more spiritual you are, the more mystical you are, more God expects from you as his son and his daughter, the more will there be a pain or a hurt or something challenging you and troubling you for you to crack it and to conquer it and to master it. Thank all of you very much for the opportunity and for sharing this beautiful time together and growth. And thank you very much, Mike. Your summaries are enlightening. It's very good, so that everyone that watches this video here in YouTube, etc., is able to follow very, very clearly, beautifully. And hope to see you soon on Thursday for the Kabbalah class. Same time, same place at 7 p.m. Arizona time. We're trying to make it earlier for you, Eastern people, East Coast people, and again here in 2 weeks' time, in 1 week time, in with Mike again. Anyone that wants to speak to me privately or private session, whatever it is, let me quickly see where here it is. I found the chat. You're able to reach me through my email.
Oh,
which is
I
right.
brought it up. I
Good.
actually just
My
brought
first
up
and last name at
Dr.
gmail.com.
Tivan's contact
There you go.
information.
There you go.
So for
Oh,
anyone who wants
Gmail,
to reach out
not
to him,
Camel, ela Gmail. Let me do it again. Right. Ah, that's a simple mistake which can cost a lot. Gmail. There we go. Right. Gmail.com. Thank you very much. God bless and speak to you all of you soon. Bye bye.
okay. And thank you very much to Dr. Gil Tivon for this very enlightening lecture and podcast on applied mysticism and metaphysical healing. Of course, we once again touched on a lot of what we talk about in Inner Secrets Revealed, Kabbalah class with Dr. Gil Tivon, which, of course, I invite all of you to please check out Metaphysical Sciences TV, the YouTube channel. You guys could find it there. And you could find all the replays of Inner Secrets Revealed. You could find other podclasses such as my mental health, spirituality, and metaphysics talk. Uh, you could also find the rest of these series and these podclasses. And of course, you will get notifications and updates for when new podclasses and videos will be released. And once again, here is Dr. Tavon's contact information, everybody. Uh, Thank you all so much for joining us and for tuning in, whether you were watching us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, or our new app, which will be up and running shortly. There are still a couple more issues with that. Of course, I did also share the book that Dr. Tavan has written, which is being translated into English right now. Of course, um, I will share the picture. It is a book on Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, or as it is known, the Eschheim, excuse me, in Hebrew. So it's Kabbalah and Eschheim, Wheels on the Tree of Life. And this book will be translated into English shortly. And this, I can tell you myself personally, this is an amazing gift to the world. It complements, perfectly all that we have learned in Inner Secrets Revealed, all that we will discuss and continue to discuss and had discussed in these podclasses, as well as my own, the Mental Health, Spirituality, Metaphysics Talk with Mike Ray podclasses. Again, I invite all of you to join us on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for these podclasses. Also, coming up soon, every Wednesday we will be posting questions and answers videos. So, for any questions that we did not get to address during the class, we will post videos answering you guys' questions. So, we are not ignoring you. Sometimes we are restrained from time, sometimes there's technical difficulties, but hey, that is the internet. That is what you get when you are, doing things live. But again, thank you to everyone who has joined us, participated. Thank you for watching. Please, if you are watching on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for when you will get updates and more information for new podclasses and videos. Thank you again, everybody. I would like to wish you all a good morning, afternoon, or night, whatever time it is, wherever you are, whenever you are, whoever you are. I'd like to thank you all again. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.